Hey everyone, this is just a quick unboxing review of the Voron 2.4 kit from Siboor Store on Aliexpress. Link will be down in the description below. I bought this kit recently with all the ABS and decorative parts included. I've been milling over going Voron for the longest time and basically searched through all the stores on Aliexpress until I found this one. Ticked all the boxes of what I needed, loved the description. Siboor Store's got some pretty decent reviews as well, so I felt pretty confident in going for this kit. I placed the order on 20th of December and it arrived at my door on the 29th. So from China to Dubai, 9 days, not bad. Of course, here's the obligatory opening of the box clip. After all, would it even be an unboxing if this clip wasn't included? As you can see, this box was super well packed. It's really heavy, but it was really well packed with the corner protection, which kept the box in good condition and kept all the contents safe. The very first layer of this box has got the Nevermore filter kit for the charcoal filter. Honestly, during the build, I actually didn't end up using this because I felt that some of the parts were a little bit janky and I ended up breaking two of them by accident. Anyway, the other two boxes have got the printed parts in them, one of them being decorative parts and the big brown box being the functional parts. Overall, these parts are printed fantastically well. I was blown away by the quality of them. A couple of reviews that I have seen online for various Voron kits have always complained about the printed parts supplied with them, and I think that's why a lot of manufacturers don't supply them. But these ones are super nice. The layer adhesion is fantastic. The overall layer quality is fantastic. The edges are great. There was no trimming required. They were just straight out of the box into the printer. I didn't realize at the time, but I did discover during the build of the printer that there are a lot of extra 3D printed parts provided in this kit, which are usually used for different setups. As for instance, the screen surround that I took out the box first is not actually used at all. It's just an optional screen if you choose to go for the smaller one with the knob. In this case, we used the Big Tree Tech 5-inch touchscreen, so it's got a separate housing in one of the other boxes. When I placed the order, I didn't actually select a color option. I could have emailed them and asked them if I wanted a custom color, but to save time, I just opted to go for the standard color that gets provided. So it's a red and black accent, which I think is actually a pretty standard for the 2.4. In the box, you'll see that there's a few little orange parts that are provided. These are actually build aids. They're used to, a few of them are used to help center the bearing guide rails, and there's a few other like basic measurement devices in there just to help line everything up. On the second layer, you start off with a roll of PLA. Um, Pretty basic filaments. I'm quite surprised that they actually gave us PLA and not something a little bit more advanced for such an advanced printer. Anyway, there's also the Big Tree Tech 5-inch touchscreen, which is super nice. Most of the other building accessories are on the second layer, which is like the Captain heat tape, the power connectors. There's a box of power connectors. There's some foam tape for the polycarbonate panels, and a few other accessories in these little pockets, as well as all the belts that are needed for the build. There's also this nifty little burr removal tool supplied. Luckily it wasn't needed at all during the build. It's just there I guess to clean prints afterwards once you start using the machine. Here's the Dragon High Flow hot end. The rubber feet provided are really nicely made. They've got a steel insert in them which makes them a lot more secure once they're bolted on. I did come across one or two reviews where people complained that the rubber feet supplied in some of the kits are hollow and are not very secure once bolted on. I don't know if that was something from very long ago, but these ones are pretty nice. All of the stepper motors supplied in this kit are by Stepper Online. I've never used these motors before, but they feel like they're pretty decent quality. Read some decent reviews online. They seem to be pretty good. They all come with a nice long cable on them with a pre-crimped connector on the end. Unfortunately, one of the motors did have to have the cable extended during the build, but this was pretty straightforward as I cut the slack off of one of the other motors and swapped the cables over. These big square fans are used for the component cooling tray underneath the machine, and then one of them is used for the extractor fan that mounts on the back of the machine as well. The centrifugal fans are used for the Nevermore filter kit, and one of them is used for the part cooling fan built into the stealth burner. It was a bit confusing during the build because the three fans seemed almost exactly the same, but one of them has a different plug. This is the one that gets used on the stealth burner. All of the bearings for this kit are supplied in their own nice little cardboard box in a plastic baggie to keep them safe from moisture. They also provide a nice set of Allen keys, which is really handy. I was pretty impressed with the quality of these Allen keys. Unfortunately, the really small one didn't actually fit some of the grub screws on the pulleys, if I recall. Of course, there's also the mandatory blue pair of side cutters that I think is provided with pretty much every 3D printer kit ever sold, along with a PTFE tube cutter, which is quite a nice touch. Although I only used it one time, but it's pretty handy that one comes in the kit. Layer number 3 of the box comes with the bearing rails with the bearing attached. There's 3 of these, of course, a big one for the x-axis and 2 smaller ones for the y-axis. There's another roll of foam tape, a few pieces of cable trunking to help dress all the cables inside the base during the build, and a whole roll of really flexible, thin gauged wire. I'm not too sure what this was for. I never actually used it at all during the build. It's just gone into my parts box. So thanks for that, Siboor. I've got something to use on future projects. There's also one piece of cable drag train supplied. I was a bit surprised by this. I thought there was a piece missing, but because this kit uses the CAN bus board on the head, there is actually no need for the drag chain across the X and Y axis, so one piece is enough. The sum total of printed manual provided in the kit is a single page printed front and back. It does help as a quick go-to guide for doing the electrical though. In this tray you'll also find the heater pad for the heated bed, along with the metal printed surface and the CNC aluminium heat bed itself. I was pretty impressed with how nicely this was finished off around the edges, all CNC'd and polished. So no sharp edges, all the holes are pre-drilled and countersunk and tapped for the earth wire. Over here is a single piece power supply. With this particular kit, it only needs one power supply, not like other kits which need a separate one for the electronics, which is pretty handy. And here's the Big Tree Tech Octopus mainboard. Of course, with a traditional Big Tree Tech rubber ducky in the box, and a USB cable to link it direct to the Pi. There's also the loom for the CAN bus on the printer head, as well as the main printer power cable. On layer number 4 you'll find the accessories kit with all of the nuts, bolts and fasteners, as well as the parts for the extruder, all in their own little nice dividers and plastic baggies. Each one of the trays is labelled inside the lid to show you which bolts are which as well, for quick reference when you're trying to choose the right belt. Here is the Big Tree Tech Raspberry Pi equivalent. It comes with a preloaded clipper SD card in the box. Just don't forget to connect the external Wi-Fi antenna before you clip the board down on the board onto the bracket, otherwise you're just going to lift it up again to put the antenna on. Here is the main power connector with built-in switch, and then the solid state relay control for the 220 volt heater bed. All of the stepper drivers come in their own individual little boxes, inside another plastic box, inside the cardboard box. So they're really well packaged. Some of them had the heat sinks already pre-installed. 2 of them though I had to install the heat sinks myself. These aluminium din rails are really nice. I've never actually seen these before. I'm used to the traditional janky pressed steel ones which have got really sharp edges, but these are pretty awesome. These frame extrusions are super nice. The coating seems to be really great quality. There were no scratches and pretty tough coating as well. Sometimes these coatings are quite easy to scratch. These coatings were pretty tough. All of the ends are perfectly machined flat, and the holes all drilled in all the right places, and the threads are tapped in the ends and everything. So building this thing was pretty straightforward. The final layer of the box just has all the polycarbonate enclosure sheets in it. These are all pre-cut to size, perfectly cut to size as well. The smaller ones are for the doors. And that brings us to the end of the unboxing and component overview. Spoiler alert for the build, it goes extremely well, and I got it all done and dusted in just over 2 days from start to first test print. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you found it useful.